The USS Gerald R. Ford CVN-78 is not a sitting duck, not even close. The Ford-class aircraft carrier is known to travel at 30 knots, which is fast for a ship, and also armed with an array of defensive weaponry. The first is RIM-7 Sea Sparrow anti-air missile. It is used to shoot down planes and missiles at longer ranges. The second is Phalanx CIWS, a radar-guided 20mm autocannon capable of firing up to 4,500 rounds per minute. That's 75 rounds every second. It's used to shoot down missiles up to 1.5 kilometers away. The third is RIM-116 rolling airframe missile. It has the same role as the Phalanx, but has a more extended range and accuracy. The carrier travels with a fleet of other ships that typically consists of a Ticonderoga-class cruiser for anti-air defense, 2 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers capable of an anti-air role. Don't forget the carrier also carries up to 90 aircraft capable of air-to-air and air-to-surface operations. The USS Gerald R. Ford aircraft carriers are not sitting ducks.
Top 3 U.S. aircraft carriers that are almost impossible to sink. And number 1 will blow your mind. Number 3, USS Carl Vinson. This nuclear-powered supercarrier weighs over 100,000 tons, as heavy as 250 Boeing 747s. It carries more than 70 aircraft and 5,000 sailors, making it a floating city of steel. Its armor can withstand direct missile strikes, and its layered defense includes missiles, phalanx cannons, and electronic jamming. The ship can stay at sea for 20 years without refueling, making it practically immortal in combat. Number 2, USS Theodore Roosevelt. Nicknamed the Big Stick, this carrier spans 1,092 feet. That's longer than 3 football fields. It generates over 200 megawatts of power, enough to light up a small city. The Roosevelt's double-hulled design and watertight compartments make sinking it nearly impossible. Even after taking multiple simulated missile hits in tests, it remained fully operational. It's one of the toughest war machines ever built by human hands. Number 1, USS Gerald R. Ford, the most advanced warship on Earth, costing over $13 billion to build. It's the first carrier with electromagnetic catapults that can launch jets faster and safer. Its radar can track hundreds of targets at once, and its defense systems can intercept hypersonic threats. During shock trials, massive underwater explosions barely rattled its deck. At over 100,000 tons of steel, this ship isn't just hard to sink, it's designed to survive the apocalypse.
A third U.S. aircraft carrier may be heading to the Middle East. CVN-77 has completed its final deployment exercise and is now steaming towards the Middle East. Commissioned in 2009, it's the final Nimitz-class carrier ever built. Nicknamed Avenger, powered by 2 nuclear reactors, giving it virtually unlimited range. It carries over 60 aircraft and more than 6,000 sailors. If deployed, it would join 2 other U.S. carriers already operating in the region, something that rarely happens.
This U.S. aircraft carrier is more dangerous than you think. When people hear about an aircraft carrier, they often imagine a massive ship floating on the ocean with jets taking off and landing. But what if that image barely scratches the surface of what these vessels truly represent? Especially when it comes to the power of the United States Navy, because an aircraft carrier is not just a ship. It is a mobile military base, a strategic command center, and a symbol of global reach all in one. And as you think about this, ask yourself a simple question. How much power can actually be carried on a single vessel? And more importantly, how does that power change the balance of control in regions far from home waters? Because once you begin to understand what an aircraft carrier can really do, you start to realize why it is considered one of the most dangerous assets in modern military strategy. Not because of what it looks like on the surface, but because of what it enables behind the scenes, and that is where the real story begins. At the center of this discussion are the advanced carriers operated by the United States Navy, including classes like the Nimitz-class aircraft carrier and the newer Gerald R. Ford-class aircraft carrier, and these are not ordinary ships. They are engineered to operate for extended periods without refueling, powered by nuclear reactors that give them endurance far beyond traditional vessels, allowing them to stay deployed for months at a time. And this alone should make you pause and think. What does it mean for a nation to have a platform that can remain present anywhere in the world without needing constant support? Because presence is power, and in global strategy, being present often matters more than being reactive. And this is why aircraft carriers are positioned in key regions, not just to respond to threats, but to shape how those threats develop in the first place. But the real danger does not come from the ship itself. It comes from what it carries. Because an aircraft carrier can launch dozens of advanced fighter jets, surveillance aircraft, and support systems, effectively turning the surrounding airspace into a controlled zone. And this raises an important question. If a single carrier can project air power across vast distances, how does that influence the decisions of other nations in the region? Because military strength is not only about direct engagement, it is also about deterrence, about sending a message that certain actions will be met with overwhelming capability. And in that sense, the presence of a carrier can alter the behavior of other forces without a single shot being fired. And that is a form of power that is often underestimated. Consider also the level of coordination required to operate such a vessel. Because an aircraft carrier does not operate alone, it is usually part of a larger group that includes destroyers, cruisers, and submarines, forming what is known as a carrier strike group. And this group operates as a unified system, with each component playing a specific role in defense, offense, and support. And as you think about this, ask yourself how complex it must be to manage such an operation in real time, across thousands of miles, with multiple layers of communication and decision-making, because this level of coordination is what transforms individual assets into a powerful network, capable of responding to a wide range of scenarios, from humanitarian missions to high-intensity conflict. Another aspect that makes these carriers so significant is their ability to adapt, because modern warfare is not static. It evolves with technology, and aircraft carriers have evolved alongside it, incorporating advanced radar systems, electronic warfare capabilities, and communication networks that allow them to operate effectively in complex environments. And this brings us to a deeper question. How do these technological advancements change the nature of conflict? Because when you combine mobility with advanced systems, you create a platform that is not only powerful, but also flexible, capable of adjusting to different types of threats and challenges. And this flexibility is a key factor in why these carriers remain central to military strategy despite the emergence of new forms of warfare. At the same time, it is important to recognize that the presence of such powerful assets can also contribute to tension. Because when a carrier is deployed to a sensitive region, it sends a clear signal, and that signal can be interpreted in different ways depending on the perspective of those observing it. And this leads to another important question. Does the deployment of an aircraft carrier stabilize a situation by deterring conflict? Or does it escalate tension by increasing the level of military presence? Because the answer often depends on context, on timing, and on how the deployment is perceived by others. And this complexity is what makes the role of aircraft carriers so fascinating and so critical to understand. There is also the human element to consider, because behind the technology and the strategy are thousands of personnel working together to operate and maintain these vessels, from pilots and engineers to analysts and command staff, each playing a role in ensuring that the carrier functions effectively. And this raises a question that is often overlooked. How does the coordination of so many individuals contribute to the overall capability of the carrier? Because technology alone does not create power. It is the integration of people and systems that makes it effective. And understanding this integration provides a deeper appreciation of what these vessels represent. As you reflect on all of this, it becomes clear that an aircraft carrier is more than just a tool of war. It is a platform for influence, a means of projecting power, and a key component of how the United States engages with the world. And this leads us to the final question. What does the future hold for these carriers in an era of rapid technological change and shifting global dynamics? Because as new challenges emerge and new capabilities are developed, the role of aircraft carriers will continue to evolve, and understanding that evolution is essential for anyone seeking to grasp the complexities of modern military strategy. So the next time you hear about an aircraft carrier being deployed, remember that you are not just hearing about a ship. You are hearing about a system of power that extends far beyond its physical presence, a system that shapes decisions, influences outcomes, and plays a central role in maintaining balance in a world that is constantly changing. And that is why this U.S. aircraft carrier is more dangerous than you might have thought. Not because of what it is alone, but because of everything it represents and everything it makes possible.